let me sing, let me roar and no go floating, let me reach, let me beach, the shores of Tripoli. Let me sing, let me crash upon your shoulder, let me reach, let me beach, far beyond the yellow sea.
Today we're visiting one of my favorite go-to nurseries, Schultz's. I always like to shop local before I ever go hit the big mega stores because they grow them right here and they're much more helpful. We're going to be talking about container gardening and things that you can do in the winter. A lot of people think that gardening is over after the summer, fall season. That's not really true. It's a year-round activity here at Schultz's. And it can be something as simple as your ornamental cabbages, pansies. I like them grouped in a single color rather than the mixes, but everybody has their preferences. And some basic spiked grass. One of the nice things about shopping local is you can go in their greenhouse and get your plants ahead of time. They will hold them for you and keep them watered and ready for use. We're now standing in a sea of flowers in the greenhouse at Schultz's. It's full of hydrangeas for the spring. This is a wonderful plant that turns into a bush. It will grow year-round. It blooms in the spring, and as you can see, they're absolutely magnificent. They come in a variety of colors. There's purples, blues, pinks. Some are even a shade of green that I really think is subtle and wonderful. They change with time. If you pick them, they will dry beautifully. And the wonderful thing about shopping local is if I want to buy these plants and have them hold them for me until, say, a wedding or an event, I know I've got exactly what I need here at Schultz's. I'd also like to point out another plant that I find quite fabulous, and that is Carolina jasmine. It's a climber, and it's one of our earliest spring flowers, so it's one of the first things that greets you as spring is on its way. I'd like to talk about plants that are planted from seed and started for spring. This is another way to prepare for your spring gardens. And what I'm holding in my hand is an eggplant. We're going to talk about growing food and growing healthy food that you eat that you know where it came from. This is a Black Beauty eggplant. This is a very common variety that you're going to find when you go to Kroger and you're looking in the grocery section. They're the big black eggplant that you're used to. But there's also the thinner version. It's a Japanese eggplant. And some of these have wonderful names. This one, for instance, is called Hansel. There's Fairy Tales. So there's a wide variety to choose from, and maybe you want to start with something a little more unusual that you're not used to seeing every day. We have lovely flats of tomatoes. And a 6-pack of those is going to provide you with probably more tomatoes than you can eat. You'll be giving them to your neighbors, which is really the whole idea of a garden, is growing things and sharing. So if you are wanting to get a jump on your garden, you can start with planting seeds and nurturing those until it's time to plant them in the spring. What you're looking at is a selection of herbs that is great for a kitchen garden, or you can also mix it in with your other plants. You can make your garden edible at the same time that it's beautiful. We talked about rosemary, and we see here that a small pot is very reasonable. It's a perennial, so it's going to come back every year and just get bigger. The more you pick it back, the more it blooms, the more it grows. And you can actually see they do bloom. It has tiny purple flowers on it periodically. We have parsley and cilantro, and then basil, which is very easy to even grow from seed, and you can make all kinds of wonderful dishes, pesto, things like that. So you want to mix some edibles in with your plants just so that your garden has more use to you. Today we're going to visit the local farmers market where fresh food is readily available for your table. Okay, I'm going to come up and play with your spaghetti squash again. I will buy some here in the near distant future. Oh my gosh. So funny. Uh-huh. They're so good. She needs to try one of these. They're so good. We're here today at the farmers market with Lee, who grows all his produce in a greenhouse this time of year. So don't think that you can't get fresh food just because it's winter.
Hey.
All right, well, I think I'm going to make some purchases because this is where I do most of my grocery shopping. I need to get, are those purple hull peas?
Black eyes.
All black-eyed peas? And then these are pintos? Pintos?
This sweet potatoes. This right here is turnip greens.
What about
those are
these?
radishes.
Radishes, okay.
And of course, spinach.
I think I'm going to go ahead and get some fresh spinach and greens and black-eyed peas.
All right. All right. There's some jellies and jams my stepmother made.
Papa Lester's Peachy Pizzazz Jam.
Yeah, it's a peachy jam.
It's a peachy jam.
Yeah, not a jelly, a jam. It's thicker.
Oh my gosh, are these pickled peppers good?
I've never tried them. I don't like anything pickled except for pickles.
Right? I'm sort of intrigued.
Pickled pig pea? No. Just pickled pickles, pickled cucumbers.
Right.
That's about all I eat is pickles.
I might have to get some Peachy Pizzazz jam.
Really good.
I think I'll give that a try. Okay.
Hey.
All right.
All right, will that be all for you next?
I think so.
3, 5. Looks like 13.
Okay. We have nasturtiums, which are not only beautiful, but they are in fact edible. They have a slight peppery flavor. You can add them to salads. I had someone say they made their lasagna fabulous. And they're a natural bug repellent in the garden. If you intersperse them with your vegetables, they actually repel bugs. So they're not only beautiful and edible and decorative, but they serve a really nice function in the garden. right. Here's another example of containers in the winter. Again, we have our rosemary, the decorative cabbage, some moss, which you can literally find in the woods, and violas, which are actually one of my favorites because they look like violets and they're smaller than a pansy, so they look a little bit more natural to me. We also use some Dusty Miller, which is a nice silver plant that just has year-round staying power. It really can take it in the summer as well as the winter. One of the first sure signs of spring is daffodils. And one thing that's nice about daffodils, they're a bulb and they come back every year. And they're the kind of plant that's so hardy that even if it's an old homestead and the house is gone, a lot of times you'll see the daffodils remain. So once you put them in, you can enjoy them for years to come. Another plant that blooms in the spring, it's actually February here, is a camellia. It's a very old-fashioned plant and it's a great performer. The bush itself stays green all year round, so it never loses its appeal. But in the spring, it's one of the first signs of spring, and as you can see, they have these absolutely lovely tissue paper red flowers that just are sure to amaze. Another plant that blooms literally in the winter or early spring is known as a hellebore, and I don't know if you can see, but it has a very delicate, amazing head, and yet really loves the cold and has actually been seen blooming in the snow. So that's another exciting plant for this time of year. Another aspect of gardening is that you can reinvent it. Today we're going to look at a found art sculpture made of repurposed, recycled things that we're going to put in the garden, and we're going to place a succulent within this sculpture. I chose a succulent because they're so resilient. They only need to be watered about once a month, and they can really, I hate to say it, but they can almost take abuse. So I'm going to put this in this robot sculpture, and that will be an unexpected addition to a garden. So there you have it, a different kind of sculpture for a garden.